guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my favorite second chance romances. These are all romances that obviously are a second chance at love, whether they had something serious in the past, whether they had something not so serious in the past. It's some time has passed since they had whatever they had, and it's time for them to try again out of romance. I love these because there's just so much history between the characters, and you know there might be some feelings there that are, whether they're good or bad, I don't know. A lot of times they're bad feelings that they kind of have to rehash and get through together. So I will go ahead and get to my list of second chance romances. The first one's the first in the series, and I'm pretty sure another book in the series has a second chance romance, but that's Rookie Move by Serena Bowen. This one has our main character. He's called up to play for the Brooklyn Bruisers, and that's an NHL hockey team, obviously NHL team, and he is very excited, but then I don't think he gets along with the coach that well, and then he figures out that their publicist is actually Georgia, who he had a relationship with, and she ended it, and he has not really gotten over it since then, and so obviously they're forced to work together. She is a publicist for the team, and it's their second chance at romance, and it's so good. I forget what the other second chance romance is in this series, but they're all great. I love this hockey romance series, and it's a really good second chance romance. The next one is going to be Fumbled by Alexa Martin. This one is our main character's Poppy, and she actually is a single mom, and she runs into TK, who is a professional football player, and they had a romance when she was 16, and she ended it, and it's their second chance, and I really enjoyed this. TK is kind of a hard character to like at the beginning because he's just kind of closed off to her because obviously she kind of broke his heart when they were younger, and so he's really hard to trust her again, but once he breaks down those walls, he is so swoon-worthy. I loved his character. I loved how sweet he was, and it's really nice seeing Poppy kind of open up herself again to love. Since being a single mom for the past, I think, 6 years has really caused her to put her family first and not herself first. So it's a very cute romance. It's very football heavy and deals with the concussion controversy that's happening in football. So I liked how timely this was. It is definitely diverse and really good. The next book I have to share with you is The Ones That Got Away by Rani Lauren. This one is the first book in a series, and it's all about a school shooting that happened, I want to say 10 years ago, and they are coming back together, all the victims of the shooting, to film a documentary about what happened. And so our main characters in this one, they had a kind of secret relationship in high school, and then they both feel really guilty about what happened during the shooting and never got back together after that. And so now that they are reconnected, I believe he is a cop of some sort. I don't remember what exactly he is, but they reconnect, and it's really good. It's very emotional, and it's really hard to read at times because they do talk about that night of the school shooting, and so definitely keep that in mind when you read this book. But it was a really great emotional romance and a second chance at something that was ruined in the past. The next book I have for you is Moonshot by Alessandra Tori. This one is kind of turns into a mystery, but the beginning is definitely a romance, and it actually starts out where we see their initial romance, then we see them have to go separate ways, and then we see them reconnect. And so our main character, her dad is a baseball player, and she tags along all the time with them, and they get a new hotshot baseball player who's kind of trouble, and her dad's like, stay away from him, and she doesn't. So they kind of have a forbidden romance, and then something happens where they have to separate, and then she gets in a relationship with someone else, but now there is someone trying to kill women every time their team loses their chance at the World Series. And so she's dealing with that because she's still in the baseball world, and so it kind of gets scary at the end because there is kind of a serial killer out there, but the romance is so good. I love this. This was one of my favorite books of last year. It kept me on my toes. I loved the fact that they had their second chance together, and loved watching them fall in love to begin with. I've talked about this book a couple times already recently, but I just finished reading it last month, so it's been in my wrap up, and it was also in another video that I did a separate whole review for it, so I can link that down below, and that is Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. This is another book where we see them fall in love, but this one is staggered, so we like flash back to the past when they're falling in love at camp, that they're both counselors at as teenagers, and then to the present where they're almost 30, I believe, and she is working at her father's company, and he is a new security guard for the company. And so he acts like he doesn't remember her in the beginning, and she's like, we literally were like each other's first loves, and so she doesn't know what's going on, and she feels really still heartbroken over the fact that they had not reconnected after camp. Something ended badly, which is alluded to throughout the whole thing until we figure out what it was, and they never got to continue the romance, especially because they're from different sides of the track. She is very wealthy, privileged, and he is very poor. His dad's in jail, I believe his brother's in jail too, so definitely different sides of the track. So they fell in love kind of away from reality, and then they're reconnecting in reality, and she is trying to work her way up as a woman in the male-dominated industries. It is so cute. I really enjoyed this book. It's such a sweet second chance romance. I loved watching them fall in love, intermixed with them reconnecting in the present. A second chance romance that is gonna make you cry is A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This one is about a girl and a guy who meet when they're teenagers and they are soulmates. They're in love, they know that they're gonna be in love forever, and then the boy's family drops a bomb, says, we have to move. And so obviously he can't stay, he's a teenager, so he has to move with his family, and she cuts off all contact with him. So he comes back a few years later, this really moody, angry boy. I think he's like 18 when he comes back. He's so mad at the world because of what's happened to him, and he's got to figure out why she cut him off. And so it's their second chance romance of him returning. Very emotional. I cried my eyes out in this book. I think I read it 2 years ago now and still remember so many clear, crisp scenes from this because it was just so powerful to me. So if you want a more young, character-driven novel, because I believe they are seniors in high school when they reconnect, but it's so good and it'll make you cry. The next book, I'm trying to remember the full plot, but it's a little fuzzy. That's Infinite by Kristen and Becker Richey. This one, I believe that they were best friends and then kind of turned into something more, and then something happened where he wasn't ever allowed to work with her ever again. They do work for this aerial circus performance show in Vegas. More and More is the first book, but they're standalone, so you could read this without reading the first book if you wanted to. And like I said, something happened in their past where they literally cannot even be around each other anymore, and now he's working for the show she's on again. And so it's their second chance to kind of confront what happened in their past and relearn about each other. I remember loving this. I can't remember what the reason they were separated was. I honestly can't remember, but it was really good, and so I definitely recommend reading this for a second chance romance. The last one I have to share with you is actually a duet. The third book that was released after this duet isn't really second chance, but this one is, and that is What He Always Knew and What He Doesn't Know. And I don't remember what this duet's called, but it's about a married couple and they're having a lot of marital issues, and so someone from the girl's past comes back, and she never really had her first chance with him because she was too young, so it's kind of like their first chance, but their second chance out of first chance, and she has to decide if she's gonna go and be with this guy who's showing her love and that she's worth it, or try to stick it out with her husband and to do the second chance with him. So there's kind of two second chance romances happening, and you don't know who she's gonna pick. You literally don't know who she's gonna pick until pretty much the end of the second book, and by the end of the second book I was rooting for both guys. I didn't know who I wanted her to pick. So angsty, and it's so good, and even though it's dealing with a divorce, you still really want the best for our main character, whether it's to go back to her husband or go with this other guy. And so I loved it. I couldn't stop reading them. I read them when the second one wasn't out yet, so I was dying to figure out what happened. Candy did release these pretty close together though, so it wasn't too bad of a wait, but definitely a very emotional, angsty second chance romance. And those are some second chance romance recommendations. Let me know down below what your favorite second chance romances are. I think I've done this once already, so I'll link that video down below. It was like 2 years ago though, so it's been a while. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.